Hey guys, if you liked the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Appreciate you. Now let's get to it. What's up everyone, it's the Average Gamer signing on, and today I want to discuss one of the most anticipated games of 2023, and that is Street Fighter 6. As a fighting game fan myself, the excitement is unlike any other. People are anxiously awaiting this game's release on June 2nd, both because the marketing for the game has been fantastic, particularly the great reception received from both the closed betas along with the demo that is currently live. However, a lot of hype surrounding this game is based on the failures of prior Capcom fighting game titles, and the hope that this installment does not have the same issues. Now, based on the betas, demo, and many revealed trailers and presentations about the game, I do believe Capcom has learned some valuable lessons and made sure that this game made up for past errors. But again, we can't be positive about this until the game officially releases. So let's talk about the number one thing Street Fighter 6 must get right in order to ensure that not only it has a great launch, but a long-lasting future, and that thing is the first impression. A good first impression is everything and consists of multiple aspects, particularly when talking about video games. The idea of a game being complete upon release and understanding what is needed to bring the people, and by extension the dollars, is vital. An instantaneous feeling by the consumer of captivating gameplay, stimulating music, compelling characters, and content galore to keep the player engaged are aspects video games have to nail in order to achieve success. However, the art of a first impression is becoming somewhat lost in the video game industry. With many games having DLC or straight up live service, with multiple patches and things of that nature, companies have been able to continuously make improvements and additions to their game post-launch. As great as this is, there are some who abuse this advancement and use it as a mechanism to get a quick and many times poorly functioning product out the door and simply promise to improve it at a later date. However, by the time improvements are made, the community is small, with many choosing to abandon ship, and the hardcore fanbase is all that remains. And sadly, this is also the case for some recent Capcom titles, 3 of them in particular. Now, if you're a fan of Capcom fighting games, you probably know the 3 games that I am referring to. But let's go through each one by one briefly to explain why they failed in establishing a great first impression. Beginning with the oldest of the bunch, we got Street Fighter X Tekken, a game that was completely plagued with issues from the jump, which is quite unfortunate given how the lead up to the game was developing. I still remember those sick as hell trailers revealing the characters. However, when the game eventually released, immediately the hype died down. With a poorly implemented gem mechanic and questionable at best DLC practices, Street Fighter X Tekken quickly developed a dark cloud of notoriety that it simply could not escape. Next up, we got Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, as far as I'm concerned, the most disappointing fighting game of all time. This game's first impression was so bad, it never really gave the game a chance. Forget the impression on release, actually. The impression of the trailers for this game had everyone concerned. They say you eat with your eyes first, and that mentality applies to video games as well. The game just did not look good and appealing, plain and simple, and coming off of the comic book aesthetic of Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, it felt like we were taking a drastic step backwards. The character roster didn't garner good support either, as there were many omissions to the roster. Granted, there were some legal concerns, but even taking those into consideration, the roster was weak, all things considered. And what makes it even worse is that the gameplay of the game is fantastic, even if you prefer the 3v3 style. However, everything surrounding that gameplay was so half-baked that barely anyone could enjoy it. And lastly, we got Street Fighter V. This is a game I personally had the least experience with, and it's for the same reason as the topic of this video. Coming off of Street Fighter IV, which the fighting game community largely considers a savior of sorts for the fighting game genre of video games, Street Fighter V had pretty high expectations. However, nothing about this game was all that captivating, from its visuals to its roster to its content. All in all, it just seemed mediocre and gave the impression of the game being rushed, which led to me playing the game for about 2 weeks and then moving on to other things. Now again, I only gave a brief description of the issues these games had, but if you are a hardcore fan of multiple or any of these titles, you may contest by suggesting that these games got better as time went on, but that's precisely the problem. These games were so poor at launch that many left before they eventually became good. Now, I played all of these games on release and went back to them every now and then, and particularly for this video. And I can confidently say that yes, these games, as of now, are not that bad. Street Fighter X Tekken got major updates, primarily the 2013 patch. MVCI got costumes that made the characters look far better, and also added new and returning characters like Venom and Monster Hunter to the roster, which are some of the coolest fighting game characters I have ever seen gameplay-wise. And Street Fighter V did something similar to this as well. Unfortunately, despite all of that, the damage was already done, and the majority of the community did not get a chance to experience how good these games became, because Capcom separated the launch product from the final product, when they essentially must be one and the same. And this is what Street Fighter 6 must avoid. Luckily, the game looks great. An RPG-style story mode that utilizes an extensive character creator, a captivating art style, engaging and diverse character roster, seemingly great online, multiple modes for casuals and hardcore players alike, Street Fighter 6 really looks like it has it all, and many expect the sales to be through the roof because of it. But will those people actually stick around is the question that must be answered. I hope it does not fall victim to the game's prior, especially given the community's excitement, but we can only wait and see. This is The Average Gamer, signing off.